Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, claimed to uncover something astonishing, truths about the soul's journey after death that defy conventional belief. Through a brush with death, he ventured beyond the physical world and returned with revelations so deep they could change how we live and how we die. Before we dive in, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. If you find meaning in this video, your support helps us bring more thought-provoking content to life. This is not a religious tale, not a sermon, not fantasy. This is the story of a man who briefly crossed the threshold of life, experienced what lies beyond, and came back, not with fear but with clarity. His name was Carl Jung. He wasn't a prophet or preacher. Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist, brilliant, thoughtful, grounded in science. But in 1944, his path took a turn that led him far beyond medicine. It began with a heart attack. As Jung hovered between life and death in a hospital bed, something extraordinary occurred. His consciousness separated from his body. The void. This wasn't a dream, not a hallucination. For Jung, it was real. I felt as if everything I had ever wanted, done, or believed in was peeling away, he later wrote. The whole illusion of earthly life faded. He described rising above his body, watching from the ceiling as doctors tried to save him. But then he moved somewhere else into a vast, endless space. No floor, no ceiling, no walls. He called it the void of creation. There were no sounds, yet he understood everything. No words, yet all knowledge flowed through him like a silent current. And he wasn't alone. Other consciousnesses were there, souls he couldn't name but somehow knew. He described it as being within a sphere of total understanding, not seeing or hearing, just knowing. The life panorama. In this state, Jung witnessed what he called a life panorama. But this wasn't judgment. It was remembrance, a full replay of his life. But not just from his perspective. He felt what others had felt in every moment. He had touched their lives. Through a glance, a word, a silence. I was my life, Jung said. Nothing was hidden. I became everything I had done. And that understanding, raw, pure, overwhelming, was only the beginning. Jung said that coming back was harder than leaving. He didn't feel like he was waking from a dream, but being pulled from something more real than life itself. True life is not here. True life is not here, he said again and again. We are only visitors, students in a great classroom. He spoke of realms, layers of existence, cities of light, vibrations of consciousness. Each soul found its place not based on reward or punishment, but resonance. Where your inner state took you, you didn't go to heaven or hell. You simply returned to where you belonged, without masks, without names. What determined where you went? Not your actions, but the energy behind them. Not what you did, but why. Falsehood weighed the soul down. Love lifted it up. And even then, it wasn't final. There was no eternal sentence, just the call to grow, to remember, to return. Preparing to return. Jung saw souls preparing to be reborn. He said it wasn't like watching a film. It was like hearing a cosmic symphony, tuning into a single point of light. That point became a person. He realized none of us are accidents. We don't just happen. We are chosen. We choose a life, a family, a challenge. Because only through Earth's friction can something within us awaken. He said, you come here because something in you can only shine in this world. The moment of death. Jung described the very moment of death, not as pain, not as terror, but as release. Like exhaling after holding your breath for a lifetime. You're no longer the body, but you still exist, more vividly. You see your surroundings. You recognize your body, but feel distant from it. Like it belongs to someone else now. Then a light comes, not blinding, but warm. It doesn't pull, it invites. Meeting the soul, at that point you're not greeted by angels, not relatives, but beings without form, pure presence. They can't be described in words. You feel them the way you feel love that needs no proof. It just is. They show you your life again, but not as events, as feelings. You feel what others felt because of you. If you caused pain, you feel that pain, not to be punished, but to understand. If you gave love, you feel it magnified. No one asks, who were you? You do, without fear, without masks. And then some choose not to go further, out of fear, out of attachment, out of longing. They remain in a place Jung called the gray light, a hallway with no door, a space between. The purity of intention. Eventually, the soul moves toward its next stage, not by force but by alignment. Where you go is based not on deeds, but on your inner light, your intention, your capacity to love despite pain. The soul doesn't ascend, it remembers who it is. And beyond those levels, Jung whispered of something more. He spoke of a silence not empty but full, a stillness that breathes. No names, no forms, just essence. A return to the source, where the soul is not separate from the universe but part of it. Letting go. Yet even after death we hold on. Resentments, guilt, desire, these weigh the soul down. Some remain lost because they can't forgive, or because they fear they'll be forgotten. Then, Jung said, helpers come. Beings of reminder, not saviors, but gentle voices saying, you are more than this. We are not random. Jung saw souls choosing to return, not to suffer but to grow, to love again, to try again. He realized nothing in life is random, not the pain, not the people. We are not bodies seeking meaning. We are meaning in human form. There is no death. Sometimes Jung spoke in riddles, leaving truths for only those ready to hear. But in those riddles lived deep clarity. Death is not an end. It is a doorway. The real challenge isn't dying, it's remembering who we are while we're alive. He said our soul's greatest pain isn't losing the body, it's forgetting its nature. Waking up, that's the true purpose of life. Not religion, not ritual, but this, be the light even in the dark. The final revelation. Jung's final writings tell of a soul returning to the light, crying not in pain, but in realization. It had forgotten how deeply it was loved, how deeply it mattered. And perhaps you reading this is your sign, not coincidence, but memory stirring, a whisper saying you're already on your way home. If these words touch something inside you, don't ignore it. Share this with someone who might also be ready to remember. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to stay with us on this journey of soul and self. Until next time, see you where the words end and the truth begins.